What's up guys, this is Matt with the Ramsey Voice Studio, and thanks so much for watching this video. I can tell you one of the biggest things that I love about singing is the ability to sing with vibrato. Now vibrato is a really kind of weird and controversial subject because there's a lot of teachers and a lot of singers out there for that matter that actually don't really know what causes vibrato. Now what's the big secret, what actually causes vibrato? Well, the most recent studies and stuff that we've seen have shown that vibrato is something like a muscle tremor that happens in your voice. So kind of sometimes if I'll combine and kind of tense both my bicep and my tricep at the same time, then you'll see that my arm starts to shake a little bit. And that's just because those two muscles are kind of tensing against each other, and that creates a little bit of a shake. Now that's all that vibrato really is. Now there's a lot of singers that, go straight into singing and all of a sudden they've got a beautiful vibrato going and they have no idea what causes it. But what I want to help you find today is I'm going to give you 12 different exercises to find and develop and refine your vibrato so that you can sing at any time and any place you want to. So in effect, a lot of what we're going to be doing today is helping you find a little bit of that tremor in your voice and then allowing you to start singing that on pitch. Now, as you continue doing that, it's going to start sounding better and better, and you're not going to be able to stop using it pretty soon because you're going to want to just use it everywhere. You ready to get started? Let's jump in. Now, vibrato comes in three parts. There's usually an oscillation or a change in the volume of the vibrato. There's a change in the pitch of the vibrato, and there's also a change in timbre, or the fullness, or the tone of the vibrato. And if I sing like an E, you can actually hear that the volume is actually kind of going like this. The pitch itself is not just E, just one straight note, it's E, it's also going, and you'll also hear that there are parts of it that sound more full and then less full, like E. Now what we want to do today is I want to help you find that oscillation or that change in the volume first. Then we're going to start working on how to oscillate or change your pitch as well. So the first thing that I want to do is we're just going to do a little bit of breath work just to get that vibrato kicking. The first technique that I want to show you for helping you find vibrato is a diaphragm pulse. And this one's really simple. All you're going to do is you're going to make a fist with one hand. You're going to cover it with the flat of your palm of the other hand, and you're going to press that against your solar plexus. Now, your solar plexus is probably about 2 or 3 inches above your belly button or your navel, and what you're looking for is kind of this sound. Now, I know that sounds super crazy and really silly at first, but that's actually teaching your vocal cords a little bit about how to create that vibrato. Now, what I want you to do, guys, I'm gonna start you right around here, on a D3. Ladies, you're gonna do the same thing, but let's just do that a fifth higher on this A3. Now, what we're gonna do is you're going to find that note on an E, and then I want you to go ahead and kind of press in with your fist as you sing through that. Now what that's going to do is that's going to kind of change your air and your volume for you so that you're going to get that kind of sound. So if it feels a little bit silly or a little bit unfinished or not pretty at all yet, you're probably on the right track. So guys, we'll just try that right down here. So fantastic. Now if you're able to get that kind of sound, you're definitely on the right track. Ladies, we'll do the same thing on this A3. So, again, guys, this is not real vibrato just yet. We're just trying to kind of teach the vocal cords how they can start kind of spinning a little bit of that kind of beautiful shimmer into your voice for you. Great. The second technique for finding that vibrato is what I call the beggar's pulse. Now I want you to pretend like you're begging for something, and then you're going to use those same two notes, that D and that A for ladies, and what you're going to do is you're going to find that note and then you're going to shake your hands. And this is very similar to the diaphragm pulse, except this time you're actually shaking your whole body. So for gentlemen, it'd be like this. Now, ladies, we're going to do the same thing right here. Now keep in mind that what you're actually looking for here is that little bit of a shake in your voice. So if you're going like ee, but it's not shaking, go ahead and press just a little bit harder and shake a little bit harder with your hands and really just feel that E starting to kind of wobble. E. Again, we're not going for pretty just yet. We're just going for a little bit of that wobble. Now, hopefully between those two exercises, you were able to find that kind of changing in that volume, either that E, where it's really, or that E. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to start looking at different pitches. Now when we're looking at different pitches, we're going to start off kind of low to see if you can find some vibrato in your chest voice or the bottom part of your voice before we start looking at some high stuff. We're going to look at high stuff in just a little bit. But the first thing that I want to do is I want to show you the jaws vibrato. Now everybody knows that jaws kind of pitch. Now what that is that's a minor second interval, or you could also think of it as a half step. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to hum that jaws kind of theme on an just like you're saying like it just had something delicious. Guys, I'm going to start you off in that same place, so right around a D3. Ladies, you're going to be on an A3. So what we're going to do for guys here, we're going to look for So you want to allow that vibrato to kind of like start kicking in there. You're going to sing those two different notes, and then you're going to let them kind of just wobble like this. Now, if you feel like it's kind of like a car battery that's trying to start, but it's not really starting, you're on the right track again. So we're not looking for like a beautiful vibrato just yet, just allowing it to kind of wobble. Just like that. Ladies, we're gonna do the same thing. So, and really try to allow it to kind of wobble up to that second note. When you heard me do that last one, it may have sounded like I was just singing one note, when in fact I'm kind of letting it go all the way up to that second, just like that. Fantastic. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do the Maroon 5 vibrato. And that's not because, he sings with vibrato all the time. He does. He's a fantastic singer. But there's a specific song where he sings, I don't mind spending every day. And I want to actually look at that every day. Those two notes right there can also help you kind of start spinning some vibrato into your notes. So for instance, like we'll do this, I don't mind spending every day. So it's the same place for guys. We're going to do the same thing for girls. I don't mind spending every day. And all we're going to do is we're just going to take those two notes and we're going to hum them. Like, and see if you can allow that vibrato to kind of spin in there. Gentlemen, you're with me right here. Great job. Now, ladies, we're going to do the same thing right here. So, I don't mind spending every day. But we'll just do that on like this. And again, if you feel that vibrato start to kind of wobble, you're on the right track. Just really let it. One of the mistakes that I see a lot of singers who are just starting off kind of learning about vibrato making is that they get really tense and they get really locked into kind of one note. They're like, oh, maybe if I hold this note long enough, then it'll start vibratoing on its own. No, not at all. Actually, we're looking for that looseness. We're looking for a little bit of that tremor as you're starting to sing through that. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to find that happy birthday vibrato. So when you're looking at that song, happy birthday, you've got that major second. It's a major second interval. And we're going to do the same thing for ladies, starting from that A3 again. So happy birthday. But this time, rather than humming it on an we're actually going to open our mouths and we're going to do that on an E. So for gentlemen, it would be like that, happy birthday, E, until you start to feel some of that vibrato spin. Ladies, we're gonna do the same thing right here. So, happy birthday, E. And if you feel that start to kind of like spin off, that's fantastic. Even if it's E going all the way up to like a minor third or something like that, that's totally fine. We're just looking for a little bit more of that wobble. Fantastic, guys. Now that you've started to find a little bit of that kind of wobble, let's actually start to do it on a slightly different vowel. So we've done it on and E. Now let's do it on oo. So another great effect that we can use to kind of find some of that vibrato is we can pretend like we're really scary ghosts. So finding the ghost vibrato. So what I want you to do is I want you to pretend like you're a really scary ghost and be like, ooh, ooh, ooh. Woo! And you can really find this in any place in your voice. This is a fantastic one for actually finding some of the higher notes as well as the lower notes. So really just allow that kind of effect. Woo! 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 Really just experiment and play around with that. And then see if you can find it on a specific note, like ooh for guys. For ladies, we'll be right around this A3 again. So, ooh, very scary. Ooh. And again, we're just looking for that wobble. Again, because that's just because the vocal cords themselves are just kind of starting to tremor a little bit inside of that thyroid cartilage. Oh, nice. Big science words. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to start applying that vibrato to a scale. Now, there's lots of different exercises that we can use for finding vibrato, but I've found that in order to allow that kind of muscular tremor to happen, we need to combine two different things. We need to combine a little bit of airflow, like a f or a h, with a little bit of the vocal cord closure, such as like an E or an A sound. So when you're first getting started off with these, kind of see if you can experiment and find one that works really, really well for you, and then see if you can ride that on into the scale. So the first thing that we're gonna look for is we're just gonna do a 5-tone scale, 5 tones up and 5 tones down, and we're gonna do that on he, just like you're saying the word heat. So what I want you to do is I want you to walk up to that top note in the scale, and then I want you to vibrato that top note, like this. He, and come back down E. Now the whole point with this is to allow that airflow to let the chords tremor just a little bit. So if you feel that top note, that's totally fine. And by the way, if you want to go ahead and use the diaphragm pulse or the beggar's pulse or something like that on this as well, that's fantastic, especially if you feel like you're not getting any of that wobble. Let's give it a try for guys right here. He. Ladies, we'll do the same thing right here. So, Fantastic. Now I wanted to give you another exercise that'll kind of give you the same feeling, but if you felt like that each one of those H's was a little too much and you were kind of running out of air at the end, let's go ahead and provide a little resistance for that air. We'll do that with the F consonant. So just keep that E and pretend like you're saying the word fever, fever, fever without the ver at the end. Just like this. So, fee, 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 fee. Ladies, we'll do the same thing starting right here on this A. So, fee, 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 fee. And again, if you feel like that top note is kind of running away and wobbling a little bit, that's totally fine. You can always refine it the more that you practice. All we're looking for right now is just some of that shake, some of that vibrato kind of starting off. Fantastic. Now, by this point, you should be able to find some of that vibrato on those lower notes, especially on some of those lower pitches. Vibrato tends to be a little bit easier. However, when we're singing, what's the use in just being able to sing low notes with vibrato? What we want to be able to do is hit those high notes with tons of power and still get that vibrato going on. So, you say I'm crazy, I know we want to be able to get those high notes with a lot of vibrato as well. So I want to go ahead and give you an exercise that's going to use some of those same vowel and consonant combinations that we've done that are so good at helping you find vibrato, but we'll do it in the higher part of your voice. So what we'll do is we'll just take that same feeling of kind of going up to that top note, and we'll just allow that note to shake. What we're going to do is we're going to do it on an octave repeat scale. So we're going to start up from the bottom, go to that top note, repeat that top note 4 times, and then on the 4th time, you're actually going to hold that note and then eventually come back down, like this. So we're actually going to do it on a she, like this. She. Guys, you can try it with me here. She. And again, if you feel like that's just a little tight, that's okay, but you want to do your best to kind of loosen that a little bit. Ladies, we'll do the same thing right here. So, she. Next here. She. Have felt kind of like that he that we did a little bit earlier, that that sh blows a little too much air. So let's go ahead and try the same thing on that he. So he. Ladies, we'll try the same thing right here. He. And I kind of run out of breath on that as well. So for me, my absolute favorite exercise for finding vibrato in my voice that's neither leaking too much air, but also gives me a little bit of that wobble that I'm looking for, is the same scale, but on fee, like you're saying the word fever. So we're gonna walk up to that top note, repeat it, sustain, all on the word fee, like fever. So in my voice, it'd be fee, 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 fee. Let's try another one for guys. Fee, 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 fee. Ladies, we'll do the same thing on this C sharp. So, fee, 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 fee. Fee, 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 fee. Great job, guys. Now, up until this point, we've done this a whole lot on an E vowel. And again, that's just because with the E, we're getting some of the chord closure that really helps stimulate some of that tremulousness in the voice, combined with a little bit of the f or the h or the sh that's going to blow a little bit of air. But it's also good to try it on different vowels. So for our last exercise to find vibrato, what I want to do is I want to just go up to that top note, and I actually want to just change that word to foo, like you're saying the word food. Now, if it helps you, you can remember that kind of foo, foo, that kind of ghostly vibrato to give you an idea about how we want that oo to shake. So we're going to walk up to that top note, repeat it 4 times. On the 4th note, we're going to sustain, just like this. Foo, 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 foo. One more right there. Foo, 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 foo. Ladies, we'll do the same thing right here. So, foo, 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 foo. Foo, 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 foo. Great job, everyone. So by now, you should have some of that beautiful shake and shimmer on all the different notes in your voice. But if you haven't found it quite yet, that's totally fine. Even if it starts off as a wobble, that's a better place than going for too tight and too strainy. I hope you found these exercises helpful. Thanks so much for watching, and happy singing.